Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be covering a litany of news items from this past week, including the first story here, which is from the Post-Millennial. I'm sure you've heard about this. Queen Elizabeth II died at the age of 96. She had reigned over as the Queen of Great Britain for the last 70 years. She actually started her reign back in 1952. She had passed away at her estate in Scotland called Balmoral. Hope I'm saying that correctly. So obviously now with her passing, King Charles III will now be taking over as the ruler of the monarchy in Great Britain, United Kingdom. But it's interesting that a little fact that her face is on all the bills over there, and now they have to recirculate all of these bills. So I'm interested to see what goes on with that. Is that money still valid? Is it still good? But I'm sure it is. But I'm sure there's a transition that goes on to that. But now they have to switch all of that to the face of King Charles III now. I did make a speech yesterday. It's his first speech, thanking everyone for their condolences. And, trying to unite the country there. Obviously, there's a great sense of nationalism when things like this happen. So I'm sure all the people in Britain and the UK will be rallying behind this and trying to make the best of it. But just want to touch that story briefly. Obviously, it's been covered a lot in the news, so just keep moving on to the next story here. Just going to be bouncing around, covering different news items as it goes on here at the end of this week. So moving on to more domestic news in the United States. If you're not familiar, California has been going through some rotating blackouts, as they're calling them, instead of rolling blackouts, due to the heat wave and the strain on the electrical grid. They will have some little bit of relief here, be in the form of a tropical storm now. Now, this is from the Daily Mail. Tropical Storm K could bring a year's worth of rain to drought-stricken Southern California, and the entire East Coast could be hit with strong rip currents as Hurricane Earl turns off Bermuda. Now, the Hurricane Earl, there's only a small possibility that it's going to make landfall. Looks like it might turn off into the Atlantic Ocean, but I want to focus more on the Tropical Storm K. So they're expecting heavy flooding in East San Diego, Los Angeles, Riverside, San Bernardino counties. And like I said, they're going to be receiving almost a year's worth of rain in this 1 to 2 day period. They're expecting about an inch an hour to be consistent for about a day and a half. So we're looking at 2 to 3 feet of rain, and it desperately needed and for the area. Obviously will help them with their heat wave going on, and could help out the electrical grid a little bit as well, because people won't be having to run their AC units, as high. So it's supposed to make landfall, Saturday, sometime in the afternoon. It's moving pretty slowly now, like 20-25 miles an hour. So it's been downgraded to a tropical storm, and it will just sit over the Southern California area. So it's good and bad. It's good that they're getting the rain. Obviously, with this heavy rainfall, there's flooding. Could be potential chances for rock slides, and mudslides, which are very prevalent in that area of the country. So if you're watching, just please be careful. And here's the storm here on the map. And it's giving a little bit of a breakdown. So you can see here, it's just going to kind of sit in this area, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So right now, as I'm making this video, they're getting hit with it right now, and then we'll kind of just sit and continue in this area. This is the forecast that they're doing through Sunday, and all the percentages. So we'll see here. There's some flash flood warnings in the area for you guys there. If you're in the Southern California area, I'm sure you're well aware of what's going on. But just wanted to cover that quickly as well. And just moving to another story. This is from timcast.com. The Department of Justice is appealing the appointment of the special master and the Trump Mar-a-Lago investigation. So Judge Eileen Cannon had granted the request to Trump's lawyers and his team to appoint a special master, which is a third-party intermediary that will oversee the documents that were taken from the Mar-a-Lago state back on August 8th with the FBI raid. So now the DOJ is arguing against that. And there's been a temporary stay that's been placed on this now, the appointment of the special master. They filed a motion with motion of partial stay. So they can still do their intelligence review, which is reviewing the documents for national security issues. But this partial stay They have Trump's team has until September 12th to reply to the motion, and then on the 15th, I believe, is when that decision has to be rendered on this. So at that point, a decision will be made, and then if it goes through, they'll appoint the special master. If not, they won't. So I'll keep you up to date with that as well. So I just wanted to briefly cover that too. So moving forward now to the next story. Has to do with the state of New York. I did cover this in a video, I think it was a video or a short about a month ago, where New York had found polio in the wastewater this was in southern New York, closer to the city in like Rockland County, Orange County. So it was found in the sample of the wastewater. So they were encouraging people to be vaccinated for polio, which most adults are, but it did originate in Rockland County, which based on their population had very low vaccination rates. It's about half the children, from what I've read, did not have the polio vaccinations. So if you're in that area, obviously you're encouraged to get vaccinated. It's an inactive virus, similar to other, or not similar to other vaccines that are going around these days. So it's not like you're getting a live strain of the virus. I have to preface for you too, I'm not a doctor. Consult your doctor before you consider getting the polio vaccine, but it is highly recommended to do so. But speak with your doctor before you do so to make sure it's right for you. So this has to do mostly with kids because most of adults have received this already. But most of it is happening in these areas here. So you have Rockland County, Orange, Sullivan, all in the western and southern New York, Nassau, and the city as well. So if you're in those areas, obviously be more cautious. But you know, they are finding more samples of this now. So if just looking here, this from the CDC revealed in August that further investigation found at least 21 positive samples of the virus in New York. One of those samples was gathered as far back as April. So has been in the water. You know, it takes a while to do these samples sometimes. So that's why they are now revealing their results now. So because of that, they have declared a state of emergency, or like a declared a disaster, over the state's recent polio outbreak. And that was addressed by Governor Kathy Hochul. And so they did find more, and just mentioned a vaccination rate of 80%. Some counties affected by the outbreak in the low 60s, and that was Rockland County that I mentioned before. So I just wanted to cover that as well. So obviously encouraging people to, seek that vaccination. So just wanted to mention that as well. So obviously it'll be an ongoing story. If any other updates, I'll let you guys know. And then finally, just wanted to cover the mortgage housing crisis, if you can call it that. It's more of a decline that's going on with the housing market, if I could rephrase that. So if you're not aware, if you don't own a house or just haven't been following it, the housing interest rates were very low for the last couple of years. And so a lot of people were buying houses, whether they were in this country or outside of the country, China, so they were buying up houses and property. And as a result of that and inflation, the Fed Chair Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve has been slowly increasing the mortgage rate, calling it a mortgage rate hike, 0.75 or 0.75% each time he's been doing this. He's done it 3 times now already. And so now mortgage rates now are at almost 6%, which is the highest it's been since 2008, which was the last mortgage crisis. And I do want to let you know, it doesn't seem like we're in that type of situation. There's other factors that went into the housing crisis in 2008 with adjustable rate mortgages and people ninja loans and things of that nature, that people were just handing out loans left and right to keep it short, and people defaulted and foreclosed on their homes because of that, because they weren't able to afford it. This case, the reason why it's coming down is just the market, spiked up. People were buying houses, and it caused the price to go up. And because supply was very low, so because supply was low and demand was high, that caused the increase in price for the housing market. So now we're pretty much saying, all the analysts are saying, are pretty much at their peak right now, and now it's slowly starting to trend downwards. So some places have seen 4 to 5% decreases of their house's value compared to compared to a few months ago. And they also are expecting another rate increase in the future of another 0.75. So we're going to be jumping towards 6-7% in the coming months here. So time's to move now. But June was the peak, pretty much for the housing market. from what I've read, you're pretty much okay till the end of the year, depending on where you live. The South is being affected a little bit more. They had a little bit of a higher spike in rental and housing prices, so they may get hit a little bit harder compared to other parts of the country. And obviously, it depends where you live and what the demand is in certain areas. If people are moving out of the city, you're in a certain area, might be okay, but also it depends on the area. Just going over again, average rate of a 30-year fixed jumped to 5.89% this week, and topping June's recent peak and highest level since November 2008. So let's take a look here. This is some of the charts here. I can give you the increase, and you can see here the sharp increase, how far it's gone up in the last. This little part here is just in the last couple of months here. So there, it's jumping up pretty good. But because of the supply chain crisis, they don't expect the supply to rise to the level where it would cause a housing crash. It's just going to be more of a slow decline of prices and kind of leveling out when it comes to that. And just a note here, the Fed is expected to raise rates by another 75 basis points, or 0.75%, at its late September meeting, which raised Fed funds rate to 3.25%, up from near zero in March. So it's going to be another 0.75, and who knows if they will do another one after that. But at the end of this month, they're going to raise it up a little bit more. And here's the map I was talking about earlier. I'm showing the increases year over year from July 2020 to 2021. So it's increases all across the board. And then in the South here, you have almost a 15% increase. Northeast, 8%, 8.1. This shows the median price of existing home sales. And this goes all the way back to 2018. So it was around a little over 250. Now we're looking at, 400. So pretty big increase in 4 or 5 years. And this is also another chart showing the relative changes and a listing of some of the biggest winners and losers, so to speak, from these recent changes. So obviously you can see some in California, some in Carolinas, Virginia, some in Arizona. Now some of that has to do with people moving as well, and people moving to a certain area will cause a spike in increases. Like Florida has seen a big increase in prices. In Texas, North and South Carolina, all the places where people are moving from urban areas to rural areas are going to see those increases, so they may be affected as well from the housing prices. So that's going to do it. Just wanted to cover those topics quickly. I'll have another video out tomorrow covering a different story, but appreciate you tuning in. If you're still watching, I'll link all my socials down below in the description. Comment down below on any of the stories if they suit your fancy. Again, my name is Brian Barsoon. Thanks for watching, and take care.